Serious and Silliness Outcast. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I'm giving you like the greatest content. I'm giving you, first of all, I'm giving you the greatest adult film stars pretty much ever. And we have another one today, Miss Karen Fisher.
Hey, hi.
And thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Where do you live now? You on the West Coast?
Yeah, I live in the Palm Springs area.
What is that,
So
California?
yeah, it's just outside of LA.
Okay. How is it living in LA? Because out here on the East Coast, we hear all kinds of crazy things.
So I'm actually 2 hours away from LA, so I don't live that close, but I'm in LA a lot. I think there's like a lot of people over exaggerate
Yeah.
things in the media, like the media over exaggerates
Yeah.
things. Yeah. And it also depends, it's a big state, right? So what
That's true. That's
depends,
true.
yeah. It's a big city. Even in LA, there's like different areas that are different, but
Yeah.
I like it. You can't beat the weather. Yeah.
I'm wearing a sweatshirt. It's April in New Jersey.
Yeah. I guess I'm wearing a sweatshirt too, but I think it's like in the 80s outside.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, I know. But California's got great weather. You can't beat that. But so you've been in the industry for quite some time now. You've embraced the culture, you've embraced the industry, and
Yeah.
you've become relatively famous within that industry.
I don't know. Maybe I never like really, sorry. I
That's
never
okay.
really like think about it that way, but you
Well,
could be right.
you have. I knew who you were. Um, I I put you up there with the Sarah Jays and Ava Devines
Oh,
and
well, thank you. That's very, sorry, I
yeah
keep putting my
and
hand.
God, she's gonna kill me. She's the one who gave me your email.
Oh, was it Sarah or was it Alexis?
Alexis, sorry, Alexis
Oh,
Gold.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. She's the one who
she's
asked me.
yeah, she's
Um,
great. She really is.
Usually I just tell people, okay, book it through my publicist.
Mhm.
Like if somebody, like that's probably what I told you if you just came up to me.
Probably.
But just because I knew Alexis, I was like, okay, sure.
I truly appreciate that. I've interviewed Alexis, I think 3 years ago, and we kind of always kept in touch,
Okay.
and we always got along. And yeah, she's been a wonderful person to me. Absolutely.
Yeah, she's cool. I like
Yeah,
Alexis.
absolutely, absolutely. So, tell me where you grew up, what your childhood was like.
I'm from Oregon, so like just a suburb of Portland is where I mostly grew up. And I feel like it was pretty average, like suburban childhood. Yeah.
Okay. What was it like growing up? Was it did you have both parents? Was it a good upbringing or was
Yeah,
it
I mean,
chaotic?
so my parents were divorced when I was really young. Um, so no, but I visited my dad, right? But I don't know. I would say it was a good upbringing. Yeah, I think my mom, well, I know she's really spoiled me. Um, so I was spoiled by my mother. Yeah.
That happens a lot when you grow up with a single parent,
Yeah,
because they
yeah.
try to make up for a lack thereof, and it never works. It just winds up.
Yeah. Then
Yeah.
my dad was pretty strict, so he was like the opposite.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And how old are you when they separated?
I was like 2, so I
Oh,
don't
okay.
even remember it.
Were they married or they were just you just
Yeah, they were married for a long time. I guess they were high school sweethearts.
okay?
So they had been together a long, long time.
Was your
Like
father
maybe
active?
7 years.
How long?
7 years?
Oh, okay. And was your father active in your life, or was it just random?
Yeah, I went and I saw him usually like either in the summer, excuse me, or like school breaks.
All right, so he wasn't active. It was occasionally, like you said, in the summertime or
He lived
Easter
like
break.
okay, he lived close for a while and then I saw him more. But then they moved to California, like him and his my step mother and my half brother, they moved to California. So I didn't see him as much because
Yeah.
he
How old were
lived
you when that happened?
maybe like 13, 14, 15, something like that.
Okay. And what was school like? Were you a good student or were you chaotic? Were you with the wild kids? Were you popular? What was it like?
I was like just more into the social aspect. I mean, I was an okay student, but I really wasn't, I was like not that interested in anything, scholarly. I don't know if I was popular. I had a lot of friends and I was friends with some of the popular kids,
Hmm.
but I don't know if I was actually popular. But I mean, I always had friends. I was always like with friends, doing stuff with friends.
That's good. Did you graduate from high school?
I did, yeah.
You go to college or no?
I went to college for nursing.
Did you finish or
Really though, no, what? I really didn't want. I went mostly because my mother wanted me to go.
right?
You know what I mean? And then I realized I don't want to be a nurse.
Hmm.
Especially I had been in the business already, and I have my dad was a nurse, and my aunt was a nurse, and I just God that I mean nurses are great, no disrespect to nurses, but I just
Wasn't for you.
no, I feel like I just wanted more freedom than being a nurse
Yeah,
allowed.
long hours, very long hours. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And
Like
when you
my
say in the
aunt,
business, you meant the nursing business?
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
No, I've been in like the adult business. I
are you
started dancing when I was like 18. I think
okay?
I think at the end of my teens, like late teens, I became very rebellious. And I
Okay.
think that's a lot of why I like started dancing. Also, I wanted to move out of my mom's house
Right.
and I had no money, right?
Yeah.
And so because I was a kid. So yeah, that's kind of I don't know. I just wanted to continue with that rather than become a nurse.
Okay. So you start dancing at 18. And what did your mom and parents think of that? I mean, your father was already in California, so he couldn't really do much about it. But what did your mom think of it?
I never told my dad, and my mom didn't tell my dad, like, you know what I mean? I don't know how he would know.
Hmm.
Um, and then my mom was just like, I don't know. My mom's kind of like a hippie, so it's not like she was.
So it sounds like it was very chill and laid back. It wasn't, even though she wanted you to be a nurse, it sounds like home life was like whatever you kind of really want to do, even though I
Well, for
want
a
you.
while she was okay with it as long as I stayed in school, right?
Yeah,
So I'd have like
that
a
doesn't work.
future.
Yeah,
I mean, I knew
once you
some
start
girls
making
that
money, once you
did.
start making money, that's
I
it.
know some girls that did, like once they finished, they did stop. So it just depends. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So you started dancing in Oregon?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'm gonna assume just like anybody else during that time period, this is before like social media had taken off. You probably moved to a bigger city to make more money and get more exposure as a dancer.
No, I never did. I
Really?
never did. No.
So you stayed
I
in
never.
Oregon.
What?
So you stayed in Oregon.
Yeah, I've never danced in any other state.
Okay.
But the club that I worked at for like the longest, they had a lot of features. So, um, I really thought about like, oh, that would be interesting and fun to like, do adult films maybe or do like layouts and stuff back when there was like a lot of magazines. There's not really that much of a thing anymore.
All right.
But I was really interested in it, but I really didn't know how to go about it. So I just never really, well, not for a long time, I didn't really act on it.
So what year was this around? I'm assuming the late 90s, give or take.
So yeah, probably like late 90s.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were about 18, 19, and you were dancing. You had the intentions of either doing layouts or doing adult film, but you never acted on it. So then from there, how did you actually wind up? I mean, because you're in Oregon, you're not in Vegas, you're not in LA, you're not in New York City. Today, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Today, you could be, you could be in deepest, darkest Africa, and if you're on OnlyFans, people are going to find you. But back then, being in a big city and getting exposure is where a lot of girls move to. But how did you wind up breaking into the industry if you were in Oregon?
So, there was a girl that I knew, or a lady that I knew, and she started doing it. Her name's Karina Curves. She was doing movies and she had done some layouts. And so she just asked me, like, hey, do you want to we me to send your photos to some people? And I was like, yeah. And so I think like a week or two later, Score magazine flew me out to Miami, and that was my first job.
Really, for Score magazine.
Yeah,
For people that don't know, Score is basically famous, was a magazine, then they think they had some DVDs, and now they have a website for basically just women with big boobs, busty women.
yeah,
So
that's
yeah, because you don't seem to like you were always curvy, but you were never like super. You weren't, the back then it was, oh God, I don't even remember the names. Maxie Mounds, and who was the Asian girl?
no, I wasn't like a Kayla Cleavage or like
Yeah, right,
anything
right,
like
right, right.
that. But I think you just have to be a double D.
Adult, yeah, that's the minimum. You gotta be double
Yeah,
D or
yeah,
better.
that's their like minimum.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
And that's what you were. Was it natural or was it already enhanced
Oh, I was like 20 when I got implants.
when you got your first boob job?
Yeah.
Okay. So they fly out to Miami, and what kind of experience is this? Is it the first time you're doing any kind of adult work on a mainstream stage? What kind of experience?
Yeah. No, it was a good experience. They really cater to you. They make sure you have enough food. Like they feed you, they ask if you need breaks. And so I thought that was kind of like the norm, but it's not always the norm. So it was a good experience. It was also a lot of work because God, they had to adjust the lights between like basically every photo. Um, so it took forever, but overall it was a positive experience. It was just a lot of like way more work than it is now.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So was it a solo content or you were with somebody?
Yeah.
It was just solo content. It was just you been doing a layout basically.
Yep.
Okay. So how did you go from that to were there gradual steps or you just jumped right into the
I pretty
full
much
penetration?
just jumped right into it. Like, oh God, maybe like a month or two later, I went to LA, and I had some jobs lined up, but like, and they were, boy, girl, but so many people canceled. Um, and back, I had to pay for my flight, my hotel, a rental car because there's no Uber back then. So I think I ended up breaking even, and I tried one more time and it was this kind of the same thing. So I was like, this isn't really working. But the same girl that had flown me or like send my pictures out, she she had a website she had just started, and it was really when websites just were kind of starting out, like adult websites, and there wasn't that many. So I started that, and that's really what I focused on for a long time because it was a lot easier to make money than it is now
You
with,
had your own site.
yeah, I still do, but I have had, yeah,
And what's the name of the website?
it's Sexy Karen XXX.
Okay, Sexy Karen XXX. And it's a paid site. You go on there, you pay for special content and whatnot.
Yeah,
Okay, so you start the website, and I'm assuming you start making money.
yeah.
Okay. So then how did you go from there? And then you were like, because for a while you were doing a lot of mainstream.
Yeah, I was. But that was a few times here and there I had done like shoots in Florida.
Hmm.
Which actually then that's when I learned like they don't have food. They don't sometimes even have like water for you. Um, but I wasn't until I moved to California. I was dating somebody that lived in Southern California, and so I moved down. And then we actually broke up. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try. to do adult films more
Okay.
full
No.
time.
Okay. And how did that go? Did you finally find success, or again, it took some time before you actually?
No, it was good. I mean, I guess I wasn't like immediately get like when I first started, I thought, okay, you're just going to be working like all the time.
Hmm.
But it's really not like that. But I would get like maybe a scene or two or three, or if I was lucky, for a month. But that was kind of like normal for the time. But I guess, yeah, I did like right away start getting
Yeah.
bookings.
Now, did you embrace it right away? Because a lot of girls go into it, and then they actually they run from it. They go into it and then they either decide that they've made mistakes and start their own damn podcast and talk about the mistakes they made, talk about how much money they didn't make. Some of them find Jesus. Majority of them don't last very long. Did you embrace it right away, or it took some time before you actually said, "Hey, okay, this is me and this is what I do, and that's it"?
Yeah, I was already like been in the adult industry for a long time. And I wasn't like I was in my 30s. It's not like I was 18, 19, 20, early 20s. So I was already, if I had a problem with it, I wouldn't have been doing what I had been doing for that
Right.
amount of time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because a lot of the girls I've noticed that go into it that are short-lived, there's usually a drug issue, or they're not very reliable, or an alcohol issue. I mean, even the girls that do stay in the industry have a drug and alcohol problem, but it's usually just a means to make money for them, and then usually they either clean up or and leave the life or whatever the case may be. But in your case, you embraced it. You had no problems. You love the life, and you still continue to do work, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Was there any kind of drug or alcohol addiction?
When I not while I was ever like filming. I think when I worked at a strip club, especially I was at the age that people that you're like kind of in that party age.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though some of it I wasn't even old enough to drink legally.
Yeah.
So I would drink a lot then, like sneak drinks or whatever. Um, but also too, you're working in a bar, right?
Yeah. Right.
Um, So I think after I started stripping now, I really also I'd just gotten older and just I don't know, just kind of grew out of it, if that
Okay.
makes
So it was
sense.
never really a crippling addiction.
No,
No, it was more like fun. You go out, you have a few drinks, that kind of thing. You do some blow or whatever.
I mean, I think I just really like to, I was just like really into partying. Like I would
Yeah.
wanted to go to the club like every night. And
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know, I was
Yeah.
just like in that
Well,
age.
that's a typical young pretty girl, right? You go to the club, you get in for free, drinks are free, drugs are free. It's like, why not? You get all kinds of attention, you have a good time.
Yeah, so that's kind of what it was. And it was, I don't know, I also wouldn't say I was like that into drugs or anything.
Okay.
I never liked smoking pot.
Right.
I never actually liked cocaine.
Okay. Back then, because I think you and I are around the same age, give or take a couple of years. Back then, it was ecstasy was huge. Ecstasy
Oh yeah.
and Special K. I remember those were the two party drugs in the late '90s, early 2000s that everybody was using. Was that something that you were?
I've never did Special K.
Yeah.
That's like ketamine, isn't it? No,
Yeah.
I've
Special
never.
K is some kind of, I think it's some kind of animal tranquilizer.
Yeah, it's something like that. No, I've never done that. I have done ecstasy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That was I don't know if it still is because like I haven't been to a nightclub in 30 years. I don't.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Yeah. But yeah, back then it was cocaine, ecstasy, and drinking Special K. Um, and those were Molly didn't come out till several years later, and I was already out of the the party scene. In New York and New Jersey, it was, you either went to the Hamptons or you went to the Jersey Shore in the summertime, and during the winter, you went into the city, went to the Palladium, the Roxy, the Tunnel. Those were all the big nightclubs and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know. So, were you able to have any kind of steady relationships, with husband, boyfriends, partners, or did the job always get in the way?
I mean, I had relationships. I was married, but I did stop. Like, I wasn't really in the business, for a little bit when I was married. But it definitely does get in the way.
Sure.
Yeah.
It can't not, right? I mean, were you married to somebody that was also in the business or somebody
No,
that's got to be
no.
that has to be rough. And there's got to be
But yeah, so I quit, but I don't know. I just ended up resenting him, especially he was not honest with me about a lot of things, so it just didn't really work out.
yeah, that's anytime I interview whether guy or girl when it comes down to relationships in that world, the it's going to be a little bit chaotic because it is not, your social norm acceptable, right? So it's going to be a little chaotic. And, the guys that are going to want to, marry a girl that is in that life is probably going to be not so honest, to say the least. I mean, I'm speaking general. I'm sure there's exceptions to the rule, right?
Yeah, I mean, I know ladies who have like great partners, so I
Yeah.
don't know if
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it is. I don't know.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So I'm going to get into some interesting questions. You've been in the space since the late 90s. During that time in the 90s, the late 90s, you really had maybe a handful of guys that were in that world that were very reliable and were in every movie, right? And then the invention of, you know, erectile dysfunction pills come along, Viagra, Cialis, and you start getting more and more people that are able to do the job. And then it even gets worse when they come out with the trimix injection. Now, pretty much like anybody could do the job. What was the difference in your experience from when you went from those early days to like when you're working now, as far as the men, the quality, and the difference between them, the guys that were actually able to do it naturally, and the guys now that are drug enhanced?
I didn't really do I wasn't really filming in the late 90s. I didn't really film a lot until like 2010-ish. So
Oh,
I
really?
think that
Okay.
had already started.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. Um like I would do content for my website, but that was a lot of solo stuff really.
Hmm.
And then if it was somebody else, it was a more of an amateur thing. Amateur sites were really popular back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's usually who it would be with. So I don't really know. And that's more like organic. You know what I mean? It's not like a
Right.
formal set.
Right. Right.
Um, so I don't know. I'm not
Yeah, you can't.
sure.
Yeah, you can't really comment on that. Have you seen that? Like, because 2010, you still had a lot of Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra were the three big drugs. And then in the last, I would say maybe 10 years, 15, yeah, I would say about, yeah, but maybe 10 years or so. That's when the trimix injection became very popular, right? And that is basically
Okay.
just for people who don't know, the trimix injection is for people that have, erectile dysfunction, and it's injection with an insulin syringe right into your penis, and you are instantly hard like that for several hours. Have you experienced that?
I mean, if somebody's done that, I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, they don't. I've heard a lot of guys talk about taking Viagra, Cialis. Nobody's openly admitted it to me that they've like injected.
Oh,
You hear about it.
yeah. Well, there's
Yeah.
this documentary called, I don't know if you ever saw it. I don't remember when it came out. No, it was when the injection first came out. It was called I want to say it was called Bigger, Faster, Stronger, and The documentary is basically about steroid use, right? But so what this guy who did the research for the documentary was that the majority of people believe that taking steroids and being in sports is cheating. So what he does is there's a segment where he goes into other industries to see if they have drugs that they cheat with. So like for
Okay.
example, he goes to like a symphony and there are these people that have to put together these concerts and they use beta blockers so that they can calm down and they can perform. And then he's on the set of an adult entertainment studio. He's on that set and he's talking to one of the guys. I don't know who he is. And while he's talking to him, he's showing him like this is the injection, and he does it, right then. And he said, do you consider it cheating? And he goes, "There's really no morals in my world, so no, I don't consider it cheating." So, and this
I
was,
think there are morals. I just don't think it's like, I
well, I
mean,
would say
depending on the
there are
person, right?
standards, right? There are
But
stand
yeah,
like,
I don't think, yeah, that's more like there's no like,
yeah,
it's, yeah, I don't think anybody really considers it cheating. Although injecting your penis like that isn't in the long run that I've heard
yeah.
that it can make you unable to, naturally get erect. So I don't know. I think it's a bad idea.
Yeah, the thing is though, in today's day and age with science, it is literally like if somebody has a problem getting it up, there is literally no reason you can't get help. Between the pills, if the pills don't work, there's an injection. If the injection don't work, you get a goddamn what do you call it? A implant. I mean, literally, it's like, like the first time I've ever heard of the implant was the guy who started Hustler magazine when he got shot and
Oh yeah.
he was a cripple and he couldn't, and he got an early version of the implant. And today the implants are even easier and some insurance companies even cover it. So like you could be like 80 and still banging away, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So since we're on the topic of standards, let's go on to things that you won't do. Things that you find no problem doing, and then things that you will not do.
Okay. I mean, I don't do anything like super, I don't like to be demeaned. I'm not that, I wouldn't, I'm not very submissive.
But no like
Not that
fetish stuff.
I don't mind like femdom. Like I've done some stuff for like mean bitches or like Venus
Okay.
girls. I mean, it's not hardcore domination or anything like that.
Hmm.
And that was it was fun. But I don't know. Like this one girl said she worked for a kink and she had to like lick cum off a dirty floor. Like, I'm not gonna do that.
Right. Yeah.
That's
So
not
yeah.
gonna happen.
So how far? I
Um,
actually had a question from actually an anonymous. What happened was I have two YouTube channels. I don't know if you know this, but I have two. One is this interview channel that you'll be on, right? That Alexis was on and the rest of the girls were on. And the other one is just bodybuilding. I just talk bodybuilding. And somebody actually emailed me and actually messaged me on Instagram. It's an anonymous Instagram, when they have zero followers and zero posts. And here's the I because I said on the bodybuilding channel that I was going to be interviewing you. And so here's the question.
okay.
Hey John, I just wanted to say I really enjoy your bodybuilding interviews and have subscribed to your channel. I'm not much into fitness content on Instagram, so I haven't followed here, but I appreciate your work. I heard you're interviewing Karen Fisher, and I'd really be grateful if you could ask her a few questions for me. One thing I've noticed is that she has never done anal scenes on film. Could you ask her, one, would she ever consider doing one? If yes, when?
I mean, he's like the millionth person to ask me that.
Really?
So
Okay.
yeah, and I thought about doing it for my OnlyFans or maybe like even for studios. I don't know though. It's just like I hear these stories of like girls not eating for like 2 days
Oh
before
yeah.
and um
Using what is it to clean you out? You know, using fiber and whatnot to clean you out a few days before, so you don't have an accident while you're doing an anal scene.
yeah,
I've
and
heard that too. Yes, I've heard that too.
I don't know. It just seems like a lot.
So that's where you draw the line. That's, you know.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's a hard no, but like after a while I was really thinking to do one for my OnlyFans. I probably if I mean I guess I if I'm gonna do it, I guess I better do it soon.
Mhm.
Or just never do it. Uh, um Also, it's just like when I haven't had anal sex for like, God, like 10 years. So I feel like I'd have to like practice somehow.
Right.
Also, when I did have anal sex, it wasn't like it was with just a normal guy. So to do it with a porn guy and they're gonna be like fucking you.
Yeah, right, right.
So I don't know. I've just been having a hard time like wrapping my head around it.
Okay. The next
Yeah.
question he asks is why does she avoid it? But you already answered that. And the next question is, has she ever done it off camera and did she enjoy it?
I honestly, I'll tell you this. I'm not saying all girls because there are some girls that do enjoy it, but so many girls that do anal do not enjoy it at all,
Right.
like anal scene. So
Yeah.
that's why I don't want to do it. But sorry, okay, I have done it when I was married, but I was also like after maybe we've been drinking. I wouldn't say I hated it, but I didn't feel like it really did anything for
You did it
me.
for him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
I understand. Yeah, I fully understand. Yeah. Okay. And then the last question for him is, um, does she think doing an anal scene would help her career at this point?
probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, it probably would because people want to see it.
All right. I'm going to ask you another question. It might be a little bit, it's not private, it's just politically incorrect, the question, okay?
Okay.
In the late 90s, let's say early 2000s, um, in the 80s and 90s, forget it. There wasn't really much interracial porn. You know,
Yeah.
it was kind of separate, right? It was like, right? It was like, there was the black porn, there was white porn, right? And then um, then I would say probably maybe, like you said, around 2010, give or take, for it's when it became I think once it exploded on the internet, that's when it became really more acceptable, right? Um,
Yeah.
do you rem were were you comfortable with doing that? Was that something that you actually pushed off, or did you give in, or were you just like, I really don't really care what color the person is?
I mean, I never really cared, but for a long time, I barely really did anything, mostly solo stuff. And then I had like, okay, I have this ridiculous boyfriend, and he would ask me all the time, like, oh, I know you fucking love fucking black guys. I had never done an interracial scene all the time. I know you like it because they have big penises. I mean, really, now looking back on it, that must have been like some weird fantasy that not weird,
Probably,
but some
probably.
fantasy that he had. And I don't know. So when we broke up, I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna start doing interracial. you know?
despite
Um,
despite him, fuck him. Never.
yeah, yeah. But I was never like, oh, I'm never gonna do that. But I just at the time was like barely doing
Yeah,
anything. Yeah.
yeah. Because
Like,
I remember I interviewed Ginger Lynn, and she goes back to the early '80s, right? And she said when she was in the heyday of her career, very rarely were there interracials, and if there were, there was only maybe one allowed in a movie. Um,
yeah.
completely different. So next question is: are there certain things that you demand to be paid extra for, or is it always a set fee?
I mean, well, since
Like
I don't do
if you do like I think the term is gonzo porn, right? Where they fly you out for the day and so on and so forth. Do you negotiate previous depending on what you have to do, or is there like a set fee?
the only things you usually get paid extra for is like if you're doing, say, more than one person,
Right.
or like sometimes I've been paid to just do a day of dialogue. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like just a day where you're like, God, say for instance, there was a scene I did for my God, what company was it for? Adam and Eve. It was for Adam and Eve.
Okay.
And I don't know, we were supposed to be part of like some book club, but we were just doing the part where we were in the book club and discussing it, and it was just all like, like no sex, just the dialogue, the talking
Oh,
part,
I see what you're
basically.
saying. Okay.
Like the scenario. And so you get paid, I mean, a lower rate just to like do that for the day. I've done that before.
Oh, okay.
Um,
And
they
what?
should really pay you extra because sometimes, I mean, I've been on set before for 12 hours.
Yeah.
And then I've been paid the same as a scene that takes like 4 hours. So that's kind of
Okay. Okay.
BS.
Yeah.
Even though it's a lot of sitting around, but it's still your time, you
Absolutely.
know?
Yeah. No, I get it. A lot of private industry works that way. No matter how long it takes, it's going to cost this amount of money. Yeah. If it's so on
Yeah.
the days where they're in and out quick, it's great for everybody. And there are days that it takes so much more time. And instead of spending more money because you're sitting there for 12 hours, hey, look, last time you were here for 5 hours and you got paid the same. So, yeah, I believe me, I understand how
Yeah.
it works. Right. 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 That's kind of their thing. And it's not just that industry that does it. Believe me, plenty of industries do that. Um,
Yeah. Oh, sorry, what were you gonna
no, no, no. Go
say?
ahead. Go right ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I've noticed since OnlyFans, no, I haven't done a ton of scenes since OnlyFans has started, but the ones that I have done, I've noticed even companies that tended to take forever do things more efficiently. So I don't know if they realize girls don't really need to do the scenes and
Hmm.
they need to be more accommodating or what, but I've noticed they've all been like shorter days, which is good because if you're there 12 hours, by like hour 8, I'm like, I'm disinterested and I want to leave. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right, right, right. Now, are the majority of the scenes like now are the majority of scenes like just shot straight through? Like we start just like anybody would make love and then you finish. Or is it kind of like you shoot, edit, we have to do this part, do that part, maybe we do the end first and we just kind of smash it together and editing it. How does
I
that
think
work?
it depends on like, I feel like every director has like their own style, and some
Okay.
of them do like it to just flow more, and some of it, yeah, you're like stopping every like 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Right. Now it's not from what I understand from the interviews I've done, it's not always enjoyable. You're in these strange positions, it's uncomfortable. Is that accurate?
I mean, it can be, yeah, I mean, it's definitely can be challenging
Mm-hmm. Okay.
for sure, like physically challenging.
Yeah. So I interviewed Brittany Andrews, and
Yeah.
if you have a chance, watch it. It was a fantastic interview. I mean, she was
Oh yeah, she's fun.
oh, she's hilarious. It was great. It was great. She was actually telling me that the majority of the scene now is not real. Like the obviously the penetration is real, but she said that they actually have solutions if you want to take it on your face or on your body or inside or in your mouth. A lot of times the directors don't want to wait around and they have the solutions and they have kind of like they edit the scenes back together. And as long as the guy is capable of getting an erection, they could do the scene and in a limited amount of time, and they're out of there in no time. Is that your experience as well?
Yeah, like for instance, say cream pies. Um, Even if you do a real one, your vagina like soaks it up.
Oh,
So you can't see it, right? And the guys want to see it. So they'll put, I don't know, everyone has their own little formula they like to use. They'll just squirt some on the outside or like, you know,
do they have like a birthday cake thing? And they just
yeah, yeah, kind of like
really?
yeah, kind
That's
of like that.
hysterical. Really?
Yeah, so that does happen for sure.
Okay. Now, here's another question that I want to specifically for you. You've done a lot of what they call MILF and whatnot. And, you obviously have to work with a lot of younger guys because that's, a huge fantasy, fetish, whatnot. What was the youngest guy you've had to work with? Like recently, like not obviously when you were 18, the kid was 18, but in the last, 4 or 5 years or so.
I'm thinking. I never really asked guys how old they are. I would say the youngest was like, and this was a while, maybe 5 years ago, he was
Hmm.
23.
Okay.
So,
Do you notice a difference when you're working with a guy who just breaks into the industry and a guy who's been doing it for a long time?
I've had pretty good luck with new guys. I know they can be, um, sorry, that light is just like shining from the side. I know they can be, you hear stories because they're just learning, right? But I've had pretty good luck with new guys.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, being able to like do what they need to do.
All right, so now, when I asked Brittany, when she works with new guys, she basically says that she doesn't really care if they finish. That she just wants the scene to be done, and if they have to use like the solution and the tricks that they or the trade or whatnot. She said more times than not, she goes, "I just want to get out of there, get paid, and so on and so forth." Is it the same for you when a new guy? Because I asked her, I was like, "Well, what about the guy?" She goes, "I don't give a shit about the guy." Right? Yeah. Is it the same for you, or do you kind of like feel it necessary to finish the scene?
I mean, I never and like, I've never really thought about like the guy's pleasure, to be honest.
Right.
I just think about, okay, is this gonna look good? Is it gonna be a good scene? Yeah, but I've never been like, oh, he didn't get to come. You know what I mean? I've never
Poor
thought
guy.
about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He just got paid for having sex with Karen Fisher. Poor guy. Yeah, right. So have you
Yeah,
been
because
have you done that where okay, the scene's done and the kid is still hard and he just we're done. Thank you for working.
I don't think I've had a that I can think of. I don't think I've had a guy not come.
Really?
I mean, it could just be like luck, but I've worked with mostly like proven guys, right? So they
Hmm.
know
Yeah.
like they they just do their job.
It sounds like each and every girl likes to work a certain way. And
Yeah.
especially when you get to the status of yourself, Brittany, Ava, Sarah J. It sounds like they could kind of call the shots a little bit. Hey, I don't like working with this guy, I like working with that guy. I don't like doing this. We're gonna do this. And the director like really wants you in the scene, so they oblige you. That's what it sounds like because when I interviewed Sarah J, she had a totally different outlook. When I interviewed Brittany, she had a totally different outlook. Same thing with Ava Devine and finally you, totally different outlook.
Yeah, I feel like well if you're working for like bigger studios, they don't want a guy that can't do his job because it's it's not going to be a good. I don't know. They just don't. They only pick guys, use guys that are like that
Reliable.
can do what they need to do,
Right, right,
basically.
right, right,
Yeah,
right.
so it's rare that there would be that type of scenario.
Have you ever worked with somebody who couldn't get it up?
So this one time, um, this guy like he came like right away, right? And then he couldn't get it hard again. Yeah, so that
Like
happened once.
he was so excited.
He was kind of a creep though. That was one guy I don't even remember his name, but I didn't even really want to do the scene because it wasn't the rate that I wanted to get paid.
Hmm.
And also like I was kind of pissed because I live 2 hours from LA, so I always it like gets under my skin if I'm on time and the people that live in LA are late, like really.
Right, right, yeah, yeah.
So like everybody was super late, like an hour late. And he was just kind of a creep in general. I don't know. It was a bad scene
Yeah,
all
yeah,
around,
yeah,
and that
sure.
just made it worse.
Besides that guy, are there any things that you're with a guy and you don't have to name names and you're like, I'm not working with that guy anymore. Forget it. Whether he smells, if he's hairy, if he reminds you of somebody, if he's too rough, if he's not professional, whatever the case may be.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
you don't have to tell me the name, but what was it about that person that you refuse? I'm never working with this person again.
Like one guy literally smelled like poop.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that like, come on. There's no reason for that.
It sounds like there's a lot of degenerates. Like, how can you not shower and put some deodorant on? Really?
Yeah, and he was really the nicest guy. that wanted to do a really good job, but I'm like, you just smell so bad. I don't
Oh,
understand
that
what's
is
going on.
awful. So,
But I was just like, no, I'm not with him again. And then I've had guys be too rough. Um, and I not on a set, but like people that I've done content with, and I'm just like, I'm not doing
mhm.
that again.
Right, 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 right.
Or people I've had just had personal disagreements with that I just am like, I'm not gonna work with them again.
Does the person have to be fit? Because now the majority of the guys today are fit, like I said, because there's so many more guys that do it now than when we were younger.
I feel like they have to be fit enough that they can do the job because it's a lot of work,
Yeah.
right?
Because back in the day, you had Ron Jeremy, and he was like a fat, hairy guy, and you could do.
Yeah. Oh, as far as like, I feel, do I care if they're fit? I don't know, but I feel like the companies care if they're fit.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they care more now because back then they just cared, can you function, right? Because there was El Natural, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So even though Ron Jeremy looked like a fat, disgusting ogre, he could
Uh,
it worked, right? It just didn't matter, right? But now, because pretty much any guy could do it, it's like, okay, well, now we get to be a little bit more selective of who we want in the movie. Yeah,
yeah.
that makes sense. That makes all kinds of sense. Okay. Um, would you mind telling me like one of your most embarrassing moments on set? Something that happened that you didn't expect. It was just unbelievable.
God, I'm trying to think. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's something that's been embarrassing. I can't really think of it though.
It doesn't necessarily have to be something that happened to you. It could be somebody that happened that you worked with, maybe another girl, another guy, or anything like that.
Thing. I'm trying to think. I'm drawing a blank here.
Like, okay, let me try to okay, so like there was this one story Sarah J told me where she was doing a three-way, and I think I don't remember, this was a very long time ago, and she's doing a three-way, and the girl had her period right in the middle of the scene.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, you think? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've gone down on a girl and she didn't tell me. And
Mhm.
that was like a surprise.
Yeah, I'd
Also,
say so.
period, I'm like, not to be what period blood has like kind of an odor too. So it was a little bit like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. I would have liked to be like prepared mentally for that. You know what
Right.
I mean?
So why do you think if the girls are on their period, why do they still come to work? Are they that hard up for money? Do they just
No,
not
I
want, are they on the contract or
sometimes yeah, it could be that. Sometimes it just happens, right?
well,
Like, what if they
no.
just started
Yeah.
on on the like they just started like literally while they were on set? That happens.
Well, like they
Yeah.
roll the dice. I say, oh, it's happening. It could happen any day now, but maybe not.
Or say if they flew all the way to LA and they spent all that money and they have all these bookings, what are they gonna do? Be like, oh, I'm on my period. I'm just gonna eat thousands of dollars.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? And you can work around it. You, but
How
yeah,
do you work around it? One of the rumors I heard of working around it was some of the girls take a makeup like pad, when they I don't know what you call
yeah, makeup sponge.
it, makeup sponge, and they just shove it way up into the vagine.
Yeah,
You've heard that
yeah,
before.
that's what they do.
Wow. Okay, is that something you ever did or
I have done that, but more, I was on a like a birth control where you just don't have your period. So
okay, okay. If you shove that way up, how do you get it out? I mean, by that point it's probably soaked.
I mean, you just have to like reach out and get it. Actually, this girl was telling me she couldn't get hers out, so she had to have the male talent reach up and get it out for
Oh,
her. I
God.
guess that would be really embarrassing.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say that'd be
Like
really
super
like
awkward.
like
Yeah.
long nose pliers, long nose needle head pliers. It's like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah, you had to like literally just reach up there.
oh, that's rough. That's a rough one. Oh God. Okay, listen, what is what is something that you did uh besides like, that guy that smelled like poop or whatever. What is something that you did that you wish you could take back? Like something that you regretted, like, oh, I crossed the line. I should have never did that.
Um, there's one scene, and like I don't mean to mind a little taboo because it's like a fantasy, right? Like would I do this in real life? No. But it's some kind of, but this took it like too far. So yeah.
All right, what which was?
It was just creepy. Yeah. And it was actually a guy I'd known for a long time.
Hmm.
And he didn't really fill me in, and I drove all the way to Phoenix. But the girl, it was with a female talent, and she was really into it. So it made it a little less weird that she liked that, but I don't know.
But what was it exactly?
It was just like I was her mom, you know what I mean? Like, or her
Oh,
stepmom, but which I've done those scenes before, but it was just like too, I don't mean this was such a long time ago.
yeah.
I don't even remember exactly, but I think I just remember being like, this is really
So it
creepy.
was, yeah. It's like that's your daughter's mom kind of thing, and then you have to have sex with a guy pretending that it's your daughter kind of deal. Is that how?
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
I could
Yeah.
see how that could be creepy. Yeah, I could definitely see how that could be creepy. Yeah, but I've noticed that that's quite popular.
Oh, it totally is. Yeah.
I don't know why. Karen, I used to really think I was a freak. I really used to think that I was a disgusting person in bed.
Oh,
And then I started this podcast and I interviewed people like yourself, and I go, nah, I don't even scratch the surface. Jesus Christ, I don't, no, no, not even the tip of the iceberg.
yeah. I'm not, I mean, I don't really, I get guys all the time, even that are way older than me, that want me to be like their mom.
Oh, Jesus.
But I mean, it is that it just I don't get it, but I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I'll be your fake mom.
Yeah. Was that something you do on your OnlyFans or on your website? Like if they kind of like pay for the content, you'll do something like that?
Yeah, yeah,
All right. So, so you have an OnlyFans, right?
yeah.
Okay. What's the OnlyFans title?
It's onlyfans.com/Karen Fisher.
Okay. So it's straightforward, Karen Fisher. Okay. And you have your website, which you said was, what was it? Sexy.
SexyKarenXXX.com.
Okay. Unfortunately, I can't put them in the description on YouTube. Don't ask me why.
Yeah, yeah, no, I know, I get that.
Don't ask me why, but that they just, that's one of the
Yeah,
rules.
they don't like that.
But I've also noticed that you're not really big on social media. I haven't seen, your Instagram or, um, I know you have a TikTok because I looked it up right before I came on. But are you
Yeah,
active? Are you active on TikTok? Because I have not seen you on Instagram. I've seen fan pages of you.
yeah. Okay, so TikTok, I post once in a while, but I haven't gotten too serious about it because I'm like, is it gonna get banned or is it not gonna get banned, right? They keep saying.
Well, yeah,
So, and then Instagram, I've had like a million accounts and they always same with Sarah J. She's
yeah,
had so many and they just shut you down. So now maybe I'll start another one, but it's kind of futile because they just shut you down for what? I don't know because I've seen
yeah.
people
Actually,
do
they'll
more.
they pretty much shut you down for anything. There is, I don't know if you know, but there is a political guy. He's actually really funny. His name is Conservative Ant, and I don't know what your political stances are, but it doesn't. That's not the point. And he's a big Trump supporter, and he blew up on TikTok, and they recently took his page down.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, and it's on politics, and I am like, I'm not a fan of that. Like if yeah, I can understand why you want to get rid of somebody who poses like sex, right? Because kids look at it and so on and so forth. But voicing your opinion, if it's not inciting violence, whether it's left or right or political or anything, you should be able to voice your opinion. I mean, it's a
Yeah,
public
probably.
platform, yeah. Like because if you just voice your opinion that I don't like, I just don't pay attention to it, right? I don't see it necessary to really shut somebody down. And the same thing with you with your case. in your case, if you're putting up pictures where you are like, a little revealing, it's really not a big deal, right? You're just trying to promote your work and yourself, and it's just trying to brand yourself, right? I understand if there are times where the girls go a little bit too far. I get it. Believe me, I get it. But for the most part, if you have kids, then take their phone and put it on kids mode, and they can't look at Karen Fisher then, can they?
Well, you can see women at the beach
Yeah,
in
yeah, exactly. Really,
swimsuits,
yeah.
but then your picture in a swimsuit that covers fully gets like flagged. You know what I mean?
Right, 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 right.
Um,
I think they're more.
I
I think they're more
don't
worried
post
about the.
nudity.
I think they're more worried about, and this is why I say like parents should be a lot more um involved in their kids social media.
Yeah,
I think they're more worried about the LinkedIn and the OnlyFans and the websites because you can connect that to Instagram and TikTok and so on. So, I mean, I do it for my YouTube channel. It's right at the top of my page on TikTok and Instagram. Excuse me.
but then they allow like I've seen girls with millions of followers showing nipples, showing you can see their full on pussy
Yeah,
through their
it's no
underwear.
rhyme or
So it's
reason. Yeah,
there's a double standard. Like
yeah.
it's they just single out certain people.
No, I
Like
fully
if you're
agree.
gonna, yeah, if you're gonna have a rules, you need to enforce
Set
it.
rules, right, right, right.
Yeah,
These are the rules, and that's it. Yeah, doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason on social media. Like, yeah, I fully agree. YouTube is the same way. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you could be right. I've never been on YouTube, so
oh well, then tomorrow will be your first.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure I've had something on there, but I've never like had a YouTube channel.
Well, when I'm hoping that this will be up by tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then this weekend the latest. And I will make sure to email you the full video so you can check it out. But if anybody wants to see Karen Fisher, you go to OnlyFans and it's Karen Fisher, and you go to sexykarenxxx.com and you can pay and get all kinds of great content of Miss Karen Fisher. Karen, I just want to thank you very much. It really means a lot to me when you guys come on. Um, and quickly I'll tell you why. I'm not a big podcaster, and I have to really chase down people to come on, and I get a lot of cancellations or I get a lot of no shows. So it's somebody like yourself that I want on, like, oh, Karen, I definitely want on. You show up and you do it. It really means a lot, especially to the small podcasters like myself. So thank you very much. Truly appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll be in touch. Maybe I'll see if I can get like a few of the girls on at the same time. Like at this point, I've become friendly with, Alexis, and I've become friendly with Ava, and I've become friendly with you. Maybe we can get like, like a panel discussion. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, that would definitely be fun. But Karen, thank you very much. And I really, all the respect and love in the world. Continued success to you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Have a
All
good
right.
one.
Have a good night.
Okay, you too. Bye.